that we are going live even as I speak. So,
yay!
And then I always wait. All right. Hey, everyone. Looks like we're here. Wow, I just lit up. Whew. Did you see that? I went like this. Yeah, I light up when I back up.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's like, your angelic properties.
Like it's lightning flashes. And I'm up in the den tonight, so my background is wrestling with the cabinets and wall behind me. So when I move around, I end up with these like weird artifacts, tracers and stuff like that, which that's fun. It's kind of like being powerful. Well, maybe not. All right. Anyhow, so how are you?
I'm doing very, very well. Very, very well.
Yeah.
Had a good yesterday. A friend of mine came over and we got to just sit and chat and talk, and we had lunch together. It was nice just to just to be with somebody. It was cool.
It really is. As I'm looking, all right, we have 2,000 viewers already.
All right.
That's really, I love that part. Who knew? One of these days I'll learn how to read that. But yeah, it's been quite a week. Holy smokes. We got a lot to talk about tonight, but
all right, let's do it.
First, let's talk about backgrounds. So what's your background? I think I know what it is.
It's from the Big Bang Theory.
That's right. Oh yeah, I was thinking Friends. It's not Friends. I don't know why I was thinking that.
Big Bang. And I would sing a song, but I can't remember it right now. So there we go.
Friends is going through my head. Oh, that's a hard one. That's a hard song to sing.
Yeah, it's really, really hard.
I know that's not it. It's different. Anyway, that was my song for the night. Well, I am on a Star Trek set. So, of course. So those of you who are Star Trek fans, this is actually a real place on Earth in California, I think. I think it's called like Vasquez Rocks or something, which is kind of cool. And it's where, for anybody that watched the original Star Treks, it's where Captain Kirk was fighting the Gorn. Do you remember the Gorn?
I do.
I made Regina watch all these shows.
And I did really fine, but there was one season thing that he made me watch, and I hated it more than I've hated anything in my life. And that was Planet of the Apes.
What?
I hated it with everything in me. And they have scary. It was stupid. Even when it was cool, it was stupid.
It's not
and their stupid. Little nose
it could happen.
Their little nose just did that.
Yeah, all the time. They had to teach them to do that. They had to teach them to do this, they'd be like monkeys. And they also had to make them walk kind of humped over, and they kind of hobbled around like monkeys.
They even have a newer episode, like in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, a newer one. And Dan watched it, and I was like, I think I can do this. I think I can watch this with you. And I about went out of my mind. What? And I was commenting on everything, and I was groaning. And Dan was like, can you just maybe not be here while I'm watching this? So yeah, that you made me watch a lot of really stupid things. And Planet of the Apes won the stupid thing.
I can't even believe that. I'm going to go ahead. So you're not going to do a watch party. I'm going to do a watch party, and we're going to see what happens.
Okay.
Because I think everybody's in the group that watches this. So
I think so too. Hey, Chase.
So
JP Karnstein.
Oh yeah. It's John and Brad. The nephews.
Oh.
The 3 kids.
Hi.
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
They love the Gorn.
The Gorn is great. The Gorn is like one of the best episodes ever. So I'm hitting my Facebook page right now so I can see the comments, because you're seeing them, right? So yes. You're in good shape. All right, when I hit a few buttons here, it just kind of goes crazy. How'd you think after being on Facebook for 15 years, we'd know how to be better at this? There we are. Wow, 6,000 people.
Right, 7. So I think actually our need to know the intricacies of Facebook really became evident and apparent.
Uh-oh, she froze. Hold on, everybody, get your cocktails.
I figure out.
Cheers. if you don't know the game, every time Regina freezes, we have to have a drink. So, and if you don't drink alcohol, which we do not promote unless you are already a partaker, then have your favorite milkshake, something really good that makes you just you shouldn't drink it, but you really like it. So, and that way we can make lemonade out of this lemon. Oh, what do you have? Coke? Was that like that's like not real Coke. Oh, it's empty.
Diet.
I thought it was like clear. Oh, okay.
Diet Coke. It's in this.
Diet. Oh, say it's invisible. It's so diet. I think that's a great. We should market that.
Invisible Diet Coke.
Yeah, invisible milkshakes, invisible cocktails.
I think we could do something with that. So Chris Gale is on. Chris Gale, you're one of my favorite watchers because your comments are always just spot on. So he says, I nominate that we do a watch party for the watch party. That's keeping an eye on the watches partying.
You're nominated, Chris. If you can figure that out, it'd be like an infinity loop, like a Star Trek thing, which would be really cool. We have an infinite show. Imagine that.
Ooh, it's the show that never ends. It could be the show that never ends.
It could be like a Twilight Zone episode. Did you like Twilight Zone?
Yeah.
Okay, I did too. I started watching the new Twilight Zone on Hulu recently, and the guy that hosted is a comedian, and Rod Sterling, who did the original one, was very serious. You didn't know who he was apart from, they have walked into the blah, blah, blah. Well, this guy was a comedian, so I don't buy him being this serious character. So he's acting like the Rod Sterling part. So I don't like that part. They need to pick anybody who has more of a background of seriousness. What?
If he says infinite show equals infinite mass, I like it.
You do? I don't know. I think I'm massive enough. I've got COVID 19 pounds.
No. There's a nude Twilight show.
Yeah.
That's not the one.
It's not Twilight. We're not watching Twilight. The nude one. Oh, wait. Twilight? We're not talking about Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But there's the Twilight.
I think infinite show equals infinite mass means I'm reading that not as mass, but as
I know John.
Okay.
No, but what do you read it at?
I was thinking it as an infinite number of people, the masses watching.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, we have 8,000 people now.
Right, 9,000.
9,000.
Oh, suddenly,
I need lightning. Does anybody have any idea what we're doing? That's what scares me. Is like the older I get, the more I do these things, and the younger people are. They have no idea why I'm doing these weird things. Like, I'm just suddenly in my chair. But it's from the Count, Count.
Sesame Street, Count.
Yeah, he loves numbers, so they call him the Count. I don't think I ever realized that's why they called him the Count, because he counts. I'm 55 and I just figured that out. I think I'm on the slow bus.
The little itty bitty little short one.
My God, I'm pretty. My face is red. I just realized. Hold on, I can make it redder. Hold on. So there we go. Oh yeah, that really got me. I just hate it when that happens. It's not gonna make this turn off. I have this new light I was telling Regina about. So it's just a ring light, so that it gives you a little bit of a glow, a little bit of like. See that's really white. No, that's really white. There we go. But I can change my color. Like if I want, I can be a Martian. I can be green.
Yes, you can. I think my favorite part about your look tonight is when you move a certain way, your head kind of caves in, like you have, some like a neurological thing.
It gives me like, even my head's already pointed. So then it does this like thing. I noticed that. I don't know how to fix that, because what little hair I have is like in patches on the side. So I think the background has a hard time with my hair. It looks like my hair's on black fire or something. It's kind of, oh well, what do you do? Star Trek. I am wearing SpaceX. Oh, hold on. Other side.
Time.
SpaceX. Uh-oh. Drink. She froze. I love our Wednesday nights. Oh, 11,000 people. All right. Oh my God. Chris. So
Chris
at 55 years old. All right. He just discovered the origin count. Wait till he finds out that Sesame Street was thinking when they created Mr. Snuffleupagus. That's not right. I probably there is a real reason for that. And Oscar and all that. Drink. Oh, this show's going to go down the tubes. We just had the best show ever last week, and this is what we're going to do.
It was the absolute best, riveting, soul.
It was
screaming. It was.
It was really good.
I've always loved and admired Anita. She's always been
Me too.
the strongest person. I've always been amazed by her.
She is.
But after last week,
it gives me a whole newfound respect for her.
Yes, the strength that woman possesses. Wow. And the compassion and this huge heart. And wow, I'm so glad I get to be related to her.
Yeah, I am too. And I that whole family, like her sister Cindy. Cindy is so much fun. Yeah. I mean, we loved hanging out with them. I don't think they realized how much we enjoyed it. Like when we got to see them, we would just go crazy. And Karen, of course, she's just something else. Like I remember Karen, and God, do you remember what Karen used to be when she was like a teenager? She was a freaking nightmare. Sorry, Karen, you were, if you're listening, because she was like Nellie Olson on Little House on the Prairie. She was just all into these like songs. Like she used to sing this song. This is all going to come back to me. I know she's going to get me, but she would sing that song, Ring My Bell. You remember that song?
Yes, I do.
Ring my bell, ring my bell, my bell, ring a ring a ring. I can't believe we know that song. Dumbest song ever. She would sing it all the time. And then she was just, being a teenage girl and all that stuff and scaring me half to death most of the time. I thought she hated me. And then we were in her room one time and she had perfume and she was just spraying it around and whatever. And she accidentally had the nozzle turned the wrong way and sprayed it right in her face. Well, I fell over. That's all it took.
I remember being in their room. And they were playing the Copacabana. The Copacabana song.
I love that song. Copacabana. The hottest spot north of Havana. Here. I remember that part.
They had boas and all these really cool things. And we would wrap these boas around and we would be the backup dancers to what's his face? What's his name?
We had so much fun. Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow. We would be the backup dancers with our little boas, and we were singing Copacabana.
Oh my gosh, we used to put on plays for each other. We'd all get together. We did Carol Burnett. Do you remember that? We'd dress up in quilts. Yes. Went with the wind. I just saw it in the window, and I couldn't resist. How many of you out there remember the Carol Burnett show? And if you haven't, and you're too young to know who the Carol Burnett show is, go look it up on YouTube. They're all over YouTube.
It is hilarious.
So they did a parody on Gone with the Wind, and they called it Went with the Wind. And she was Scarlett O'Hara.
Scarlett O'Hara. And she made a dress using the curtains, just like Scarlett O'Hara did. But she used the curtain rod as
She came down this giant curtain rod, and she put the tassel on her head like a hat.
It was so funny.
It was hilarious. Oh my gosh. Well, the thing was, and then Vicki Lawrence played like the
Mama.
It was like these, like the young girl. She was Mama on Mama's Place, but she played a character that today I don't think they could get away with. I forget what the character's name was, but she was one of the servant girls in the house, like in the South, of course, one of the slaves. But she played it up like this crazy character, and she screamed, just constantly screamed all the time. And they would have to slap her to calm her down. And so I remember Carol Burnett, she's like, God be my witness. She went through the whole thing. It was just awesome. I love that show. Uh-oh, did you freeze?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
opportunity. Woohoo! Drink, John. John has a drink. He loves Carol Burnett too, and that's cool. I wish I could see better. I need like contacts or something. So Eddie Tipton.
Edie
I used to
Tipton,
watch
love
Mama's
that
Family.
girl.
Oh yeah?
Love
you're
that
right,
girl.
Edie. She used to watch Carol Burnett play Eunice.
Eunice and Mama. My goodness.
Eunice. My favorite. Do you have a favorite Eunice episode?
I think it was Monopoly. The Monopoly episode.
Oh, that was that was a good one.
Was it Christmas?
You remember when they played? Oh no, but you and I do that every Christmas to this day. That scene. So there's this scene where they're in this huge family fight, and Eunice is just screaming at her mom and whatever, and her mom gives her a present. She's like, Eunice, open your damn present. She just screams at her. And Eunice is holding it, and she's mad. She's, I don't care what this cheap thing is. And then she says, suddenly she opens a box and she goes,
for the
like
picture.
that, and smiles, and you see a flash. And then she goes back to fighting. So every year when Regina gives me a present, or we always do that fake smile. Take a picture before we even know what it is.
That's so funny. But I think my all-time, I think my all-time favorite, I have two favorites. Well, man, it's so hard. I love Mrs. Wiggins.
Oh, Mrs.
Love
Wiggins.
her.
Hello?
And,
hello? Hello? She would hit the intercom, and she would just keep her finger down on it, and she keeps saying hello, and he couldn't answer back. I love that too.
And there were two others. One is where Tim Conway was trying to explain a story about an elephant, and he was sitting on the edge of the couch. And I don't remember all of it, but I just remember how funny that was. And then the one at the dentist's office.
Oh my gosh, that one. So let's both of those. So in the one where he did the elephants, and he was on there. That was the one where he made the whole group. They couldn't pull it together. Carol Burnett, Dick Van Dyke was on there, Vicki Lawrence, and they all lost it. And so when you go to YouTube, just look it up.
Kyle Wagner.
Oh,
Lyle Wagner.
Yeah,
That was so funny.
And he just kept talking, and they couldn't get their breath to make him shut up.
And he just
kept talking. He was talking about Siamese elephants at a park.
And he was like, "Wah."
Yeah. He said, "Yeah, I remember." He was like this slow guy that worked at the hardware store, and he was like, "I remember there were these two. I went to the circus, and there were these two Siamese elephants.
Like.
Saw these Siamese elephants, and well, they were joined at the trunk like that."
And they went, "Wah."
When they snorted. And they all lost it, and they couldn't catch their breath. And then he kept going, and he said then a monkey came out and did a tightrope walk act on their trunk when they would stretch out, and he was making it up.
And he just kind of sat there looking.
All of that wasn't scripted. He made that up. Like, that's why they lost it, because they had no idea what he was going to say next. So fast forward to the dentist office. So for all of you who don't know Carol Burnett or don't remember this episode, you have got to go. Just type in Carol Burnett and dentist office, and it was Tim Conway.
Yeah, and elephant.
I was watching that the other night, and I was just surfing on YouTube, and which takes up hours of my valuable time. And that I laughed. I mean, I was crying. I was laughing so hard because it's so stupid and just funny. I mean, I love that stuff. I'm like looking at Joe Henderson, really good friend of mine. I don't think you met Joe yet, have you?
Is he the chiropractor?
Joe and I. Yes.
I did meet him.
He is responsible
very
for my posture.
I met him very briefly.
He's incredible. He's a great chiropractor. I remember him
at the metro station. He must have walked with us from where we were downtown and then we went over to the train station and we went to the courthouse for your wedding. Oh,
that's right.
And then we were at the train station, and I remember him at the
Union Station.
Yes, I remember him at the metro when we went from here to here.
That was funny. That's a good freeze. Screenshot. Hey, Chris Gale, screenshot. I can't get to it quick enough. Oh wait, I might try. Hold on. Control Shift 4. No, Control Shift 3. Oh shoot, I missed it. If you got that, that was a good one. You would have loved that. Chris, did you get it? Because it was like it was really good. You'd be proud of that one. We're gonna have a book, a tabletop book of Regina's favorite freezes.
JP, drink.
That'll be JP, we're gonna have to get a couple bottles because we're gonna run out of.
Oh, thank you, Joe. You just moved way up, way up, way up.
I know where you live.
Edie, whose side are you on, Edie?
I got it. She says I got it.
She got the screenshot.
Oh, you got to send it. Post it. It's good. You can post it. Post it, please. Oh, John had a big crush on Lyle Wagner.
Everybody had a big crush on Lyle Wagner.
I think everybody did. Yeah, it was Wonder Woman's compatriot or whatever, like on the Wonder Woman show with Linda. How beautiful is she? Holy cow!
Right. Okay.
What was her name? Linda
Carter.
Linda something. Carter. That's it.
So Chris Gale, your personal opinion is very wrong. I think Regina is intentionally freezing up just to get Troy absolutely wasted for this episode. If I was intentionally freezing up, I would have beautiful looks on my faces, not ones that make me look like a gerbil. Like that, Troy.
That wasn't beautiful. Maybe this is
my freeze faces are like this. Yours are like that.
Yeah, like Sears poses. We have our famous freezes. So in our tabletop book, we'll have your freezes, and on the other side will be my famous freezes. It'll be all these like model.
Nice, Chris Gale.
Chris, you better stay on the right side of this. Regina tries to do the Thriller dance horribly, and it went horribly wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's what that looked like. It was kind of close. Wow. So yeah, I loved all those shows. And I actually, so I didn't download. I bought Planet of the Apes. I bought the whole series from those old shows, and I had to watch them. They're just great. Charlton Heston was in there, and
you know how I mentioned earlier that my respect and admiration for Anita just like skyrocketed last week.
Yeah.
Wonder what the opposite of admiration and respect is. What's the opposite of that? Because that just happened to you, because you just bought Planet of the Apes and watched them.
Oh, that and the Land of the Lost, of course.
Land of the Lost, I can do. Land of the Lost,
I love Chaka. Who was your favorite character on? Was Chaka your favorite character? There was Marshall, Will, and Holly, Enoch.
Enoch was too serious. I think it was Chaka. I like Chaka.
Chaka was funny. I think people like Chaka. And there was Babe, which was a stupid character. It was a dinosaur. It was a brontosaurus, baby brontosaurus that liked Holly. Hari.
I need to watch it again. Hari. I need to watch it again. I haven't seen it for.
You won't believe how bad it is. You won't believe how bad it is. Because that's when they were first using green screen and chroma key ever.
JP said Land of the Lost was wonderful.
Well, I even have the hat. Like that's
have you watched it lately, stack. JP?
See, I bought the hat. It's Enoch the Sleeve Stack.
The fact that you bought it, or the fact that they made it, which is more concerning? I just don't know.
There are more of us. Oh, hold on. I got to make this right. I have lights just for this reason. There we go. That's how the Sleeve Stack talked. Do you remember that? They had pointed heads and big eyes, and they went.
I do remember that.
Good Lord. No wonder people think old people are weird.
Yeah, this one.
I consider myself an old person. I consider myself an old person now. Do you? Oh, she froze. Woohoo! This is a good show. Hold on. I don't have to make weaker drinks. I just am. I'm gonna keep up with this kind of show. So we went through Planet of the Apes. I saw it starting
to freeze, and I smiled.
Yeah. I think you caught it that time.
And it didn't catch it. Shoot.
So I love it. Chris is like, drink. All right. So we got Joe. Who did we miss? Are you scrolling through? I want to make sure.
Noni's on.
I hate it. Oh, hey, Noni. There's Joe and Chris. And I saw some other people in there too. No, I can't scroll back quick enough, far enough.
Edie, are you going to get back into Unique?
What's that mean?
It's a brand of makeup.
Oh.
Hey, when you are here, I'll do a makeover on you, and we'll do that for our show.
On me?
Yes.
You can do makeovers on guys?
I will try.
Oh dear. Let me, if I can do one on you.
Allie did one on me. Little Alice did one on me once, and it was pretty amazing. It was black everywhere.
Would be fun. We could do that. We could do a makeover show. You got to make me look like, I don't know, chiseled.
That's contouring. Chiseled. I was your best customer, wasn't I, Edie?
So this is like, do you watch those makeup shows like that? Like the ones online where they do makeovers?
All the time.
Like, I love those things. At night, one of my favorite things, if I've had a bad day especially, I like to jump on and I get in a string of shows that really make me laugh.
I love him. Love JP.
Oh, you haven't met John yet? Oh, John, my gosh.
He says, sweetie, there is not enough makeup.
I'm going to kill him. I know where you live, I think. Wait, you just moved.
Love that guy. Yeah. So far, he said that. Joe said, I have more brain cells than you. This is my favorite show ever.
Yeah, these are my friends.
I love them.
Yeah, well, just wait till you hang around them for a while. We'll see about that. And your little dog, too. Oh, hey, good. Mike Hope's there. Wow, we have 11,000 people on there. That's amazing.
12,000 people on mine.
You know what's funny is we'll see these numbers like come and go, and it's fun because we have different friends popping in and out and whatever, and people coming in and out. And then by the end of the evening, there's been like 80 people. And then by that night and the next day, it's almost 200. And the show with Anita last week is going up to almost 600 people.
Amazing. Amazing.
I know it. I know. I love it. Because everybody's like first, like we are.
And that was our first YouTube show because we've now launched into YouTube. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you. Because I knew that we've been talking about maybe doing this show on YouTube because more people have access to YouTube because a lot of people are politically divorcing themselves from Facebook, but there's still a lot of people out there clearly who aren't. And just trying to hold on, Chris, because that just want the kittens and the angels and the goofy shows like this. But we were thinking maybe we could do a YouTube show and then everybody we'll put the link on Facebook. So instead, we're doing Facebook now, and then I'm downloading those shows, popping them up to YouTube. I'm gonna Joe. I swear that's a problem. He's probably had like more than one sip.
I love your friends.
I know him. I know things about him, Joe. I know things about you.
Ooh, don't be scared, Joe. I will protect you.
It won't work. It won't work.
Mike, we're doing great. Yeah. How are you?
Aww.
Okay, go ahead with your YouTube.
So we have a YouTube show now, and I should copy it and put it into it's in our Facebook group. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, what's the point?
Why not?
Join it. There's like 120 people joined our Facebook group.
This speaks to the condition of our country right now.
Pause and think about that. Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's good. Not the condition of the country. We know that's a problem. And it's going to be up to this new generation that we're training to fix all the problems we've given to them, starting centuries ago.
I'm scared to death of that.
Everything.
This new generation, and I don't mean this as disrespectfully as it's going to come out of my mouth. I really don't. But this generation, they eat Tide Pods. They do salt and ice cube burns on their body. They
Joe does that.
Keiki dances or some kind of dances when the car is moving, and they get out of the car and they dance. I'm concerned. I'm just concerned.
Though, they don't all do it right. A lot of them do.
I'm generalizing. I'm generalizing.
But you know why they do it? It's because this new, it really is. It's because social media is a new thing, like relatively speaking, like in the last.
And Joe, I have stories
15 years
that
really.
No one else knows.
Oh yeah, so do I.
Oh, we're not talking about that. We're talking about mine.
Oh, your stories, not about me.
About you.
Okay, well, yes, she does. Oh wait. And he does, Joe. I swear, I will block you from Facebook forever.
Watching while I'm grilling.
You better not. You better not. You better not. I'm going to come right over to your house. He lives like only about 6 blocks from me, and he has this amazing balcony that overlooks all of Washington D.C.
Oh,
did you see the pictures I posted?
Yes.
I posted the sky. That was from his balcony.
Oh wow!
And of the lightning storm.
Wow. That's incredible.
Wait till you come. When you come to DC, when we're all able to get out from under this COVID cloud, we got to take you up there. And we can see each other's houses because he's higher up, and I can see it from when I walk down the sidewalk and see his place. He's mine. So we want to put a zip line between our houses. I think that would be okay in DC. I would have to use a rocket pack to get to his place, but I mean, he's kind of a large guy. He could be the counterweight to get me over to his balcony. No, he's not. He was a rower for a long time. A DC rower. Do you know what a rower is? You know those big long boats?
Yeah.
And they get like 300 guys in one boat, well, maybe 10, and they all row and it goes really fast.
Yeah,
and they're
really
super
fast.
Fit. Yeah. That's what Joe did for a long, long time. The regatta.
Mike, that sounds perfect. You just keep on grilling. You keep having your cold beer. That sounds perfect.
Oh, that does sound good. I need to do that soon. I need to order food at some point. I look up and I'm like, holy cow, over 35 minutes has passed.
Oh, Chris Gale.
And we haven't even started.
No, we haven't. If Troy's coming to your house, he'll have to walk. He can't drive. He won't be able to blow his 0.8 at this point.
I swear. What? That's not true.
Hey, stick to Diet Coke.
Okay. Yeah, you better.
The invisible Diet Coke.
The invisible Diet Coke. Well, I have the invisible cocktail right now, so I have a lot of oranges in there, so it's healthy. So let's talk about religion.
YouTube. Let's talk about what? Religion. Okay.
She's like, uh-oh.
Sometimes my brain starts to engage, really, really engaged, and it says, uh-oh.
Yeah, what? It's like, you need this light. You're like, red alert. I should give you a warning with the red lights. When that happens. There's this, I can't remember her whole name, but there's this podcast I listen to, which, so if you are a person who comes from the wrong side of the tracks, socially speaking, you've been considered to be the person who, I don't know, whatever church people think is wrong, like being tatted up, or you were in prison, or who knows, just everything that gets you judged by people. There's this woman, her name is Nadia something, and she's a Lutheran minister, and she's very different and very odd, but and she like cusses like during her sermons and all of that, and I'm not offended in any way. Like when I watch this, she is saying stuff that is so real and so raw that it's it just takes you back, like, but it's true, like the stuff that she says. So I've been watching her lately, and she has a podcast called The Confessional. And at first I thought, this is not going to be good. And it's a show based on people who come onto her show and they confess some terrible thing that they've done in their life that they've had to live with, or they're still living with, or whatever. And these people come on there and wow, I mean, they have these gut-wrenching things. And then at the end of it, she talks them through it, and they're real honest about it. Like, she's not sugarcoating anything. And then by the end of it, she does it like she writes a blessing, or a kind of just a thing to say about that person after the show's over. And it is just incredibly amazing. So anyway, for those of you offended by people who have small cocktails like this, I'm sorry if you're offended, but I hope you're not, because actually it's a lot of fun. If you do anything in moderation is good. I think that's what the point is. So that was my religious commentary for the day. Jesus did not turn the wine or the water into fruit juice. That's what Dad told me a long time ago, when I was like, well, they drank wine. And he's like, no, that was non-fermented wine. I'm like, that's fruit juice.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that really feel that.
They really do. I mean, they really, I did for many, many years. I didn't really know why I believed that, but I did.
Well, our Grandma Goodwill, Mama Goodwill told us that. She always told us that, and Mom told us that.
That what?
That it was fruit juice. Grape juice.
Okay. Well, that was the only thing people could come up with.
Yeah. So Mike lives across from our old house in Petersburg, in the old Vogel house. How cool is that? He used to mow his grass. So cool. Every week he had a different design in it. And where the driveway is, there's like where the grass starts on the driveway, he would start a diagonal pattern right there. And it was just a really cool diagonal.
That was the most beautiful yard I've ever seen.
And then the next week he did a diagonal the opposite direction. And man, do you do that kind of stuff to your yard now, Mike?
Well, it was also special grass. Like he planted.
Yeah, was it like Kentucky bluegrass or something?
Oh, it was thicker. It was something like you'd almost put on a golf course, like beautiful. on the green. It was thick. It was like carpet.
Yeah,
and it made our yard look like, I mean, we had dandelions and ants.
Yeah, and we had those big like craters. Cactus things that had like pokey cactus things on them, and you never could go barefooted because you'd get all these briars in your feet.
Well, that was our yard was a nightmare yard to mow. And it was on a hill.
It was.
And it had trees, low trees. And Dad would make me, I'd crawl around and scratch. I'd look like I'd been like through Ben-Hur or something by the time I was done mowing the yard. Back was bleeding. And then there would be this like hill that was really steep with grass on it. And I would have to go sideways with the lawnmower and try to do that and not fall under the blades. I'm thinking, I can't believe this is even happening. I can't believe I'm being made to do this. But I did.
Didn't you one time put a rope on the handle of the lawnmower, and then you would let it go down the hill, and then you would pull it up with the rope and move it, let it go down the hill?
Yep.
That was beside the Cole's house. That hill was crazy.
So scared. I was so scared. They got rid of that hill. Like they put a wall up and leveled the yard out. Thank God. Yeah, a little bit. And then they took, I don't know who lives there now. It's a minister of whatever, of the church there now. It's a parsonage. Yeah. But they got rid of all the shrubs, all the trees, and anything that was decorative anyway. It looks like a police station now.
It's kind of cold. There was this great big beautiful pine tree in the front, and we always put lights around it at Christmas time, but never took the lights off, right? I think that was you and Dad. And so there were years and years and years of lights, rows of lights.
That's probably why they had to cut
it down.
It
was too heavy.
God only knows. It was distorted from all the wires that were in it. And who knows?
And then underneath that big bay window that's in the front, it had those hollyberry bushes, which were, they had little red berries and they were really cute. They're really pretty.
We did. We lived in a neat house because growing up as ministers' kids and preachers' kids, we lived in parsonages, which is a weird word to say these days for me, but a parsonage. And it's basically the church owned the house, and that's where the pastor and his family lived. And we had lived in trailers and different places, I think, before that. Like Ravenswood, we lived in a house that was attached to the church. And then Petersburg was its own house in the Monarch Heights. It was a nice neighborhood. And for us, that was the first time we had ever lived in a neighborhood that looked like that. That was really, really neat, middle America looking nice neighborhood. And it was on a hill. And over the hill, there was a huge view down towards the town of Petersburg. And there was an airport, and you could watch all the airplanes. Yeah. It was really a beautiful place to live. It was Mike, all the back. You could see all the mountains.
When we come back to Petersburg, and a parsonage and a pear tree, Chris Gale says. So, Mike, when we come back to Petersburg, we're coming to your house. We know where it is. You still do the diagonal. That's awesome. Is the grass still amazing? That's crazy. Sure did you know that Tom Vogel did that when he lived there?
Did he know? Did he know Tom Vogel?
I would imagine he went to school with us. Yeah. He had to have. He went to school with us.
He must have known him. That's neat that you live there. And then so that was a beautiful yard. It was a beautiful house.
Oh, Dad was an amazing softball player. He played fast pitch, and he was the pitcher. He was amazing.
Yeah, bruises.
Do you remember, Mike, when he broke his neck playing fast pitch softball? He was at bat and he hit the ball and he goes running. I mean, he had short little legs and he ran really fast like Fred Flintstone. It was like this big joke, you know, and it was really fast. And when he got to first base, the guy, whoever it was at first base, he stretched way out so he could catch the ball. And Dad tripped over his leg and he did these flips in the air and landed on his head. And then his body came down and it broke his neck.
Dad? Our dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently Dad was like Tim Allen when it came to accidents. I mean, he would, it was a good,
Aflac would have been great to have with that.
He would have been a fabulous commercial, even farmers, he would have been a great commercial for them because it's like, we've been there, we've seen it, we've done it, and Dad did it. And so even on the Navajo reservation, he was working on an oven or something.
A gas stove.
And it explodes. And because he's under there with
him
fire
across the
and
gym.
Like 15 feet across, and he lands against the wall and is unconscious and he dies at the hospital.
He inhaled the fumes. He inhaled the fire and they thought he was going to die because it burnt they thought it would burn his lungs.
Yeah. It burned his eyebrows off and stuff.
It burned his eyebrows. His eyebrows never really recovered from that.
Yeah. Some of that's probably genetic too, because I think they thinned out, but didn't quite recover.
Well,
and then he gets there and he goes to the pearly gates. He sees God and everything. And he's like, not quite your time yet, Doug. Try again. So he goes back and then
back he goes.
He had like 8 or 9 other.
Oh yeah. He gets headbutted by a cow. Died. Somebody gifted them with a cow. And he goes out there to feed it or whatever, and it headbutted him in the chest. And he gets up and says, you know, he's all right. He's all right. And then they take everybody to some restaurant, and he's not feeling quite right. So he goes to the restroom, and he's gone for a long time. And somebody goes to check on him, and he had passed out, collapsed in the bathroom. And they take him by ambulance to the emergency room because this cow headbutted him. Bruised all of his internal organs. It was crazy.
So Mike, and then he was at youth camp and nearly got killed.
Yeah,
he nearly got killed at youth camp that time.
Yeah, one of the counselors. I remember who, but I won't say.
Jim. Jim, you tried to kill our dad, but apart from that, I remember. I couldn't pull that back quick enough, but lawsuit's still pending, just saying.
But he like came behind him and grabbed him, and the grass was wet. and his feet slipped out from underneath him. And the way he landed, it broke several of his ribs.
Yeah, he had his hands like this, and they fell forward and boom, right into the chest. So then Dad was out for a week in the hospital, and
he had 9 lives. That man did.
He did, and there was the one that, oh, this is a really interesting story. The one that really got me was he and Mom were out on the reservation, and when they lived in Gallup, in New Mexico, and they were on 4-wheelers. You remember that one? And then suddenly the 4-wheeler just seized, and he flew off the front of the 4-wheeler. The brakes, it just stopped, and he landed in a barbed wire fence, and it ripped holes in through his face. I mean, tore his face up and all of it. He was like a mess, and they had to do plastic surgery and all this stuff. And then he survived. Turns out
it wasn't holes in his face. It was a gash from his ear down to his mouth. And it was wide open. You could see his teeth. You could see the inside of his mouth.
Well, that's a hole. That would be a hole.
I'll think of a hole as like this little hole.
Oh, I was thinking big hole. Yeah, he looked like the Joker.
And it came down from his eye all the way down. Yeah, it was bad.
Just opened his face. It's unbelievable. But it turns out that there was, like, you know, on the reservation, there are beautiful way. They're medicine men, which were knowledge holders. And it's not like it's all witchcraft and all the stuff that Christianity and Westernization attributes to it. It's a very different thing. So there are people out there who go out and give blessings to families and babies and crops, and they're just these wonderful elders that I've met many of them. They're just wonderful people. But there are those who, like in Christianity, they dabble in the dark side. And so there was a man out there that did not like Dad because he was a minister, and had placed a death curse on Dad.
Yeah.
And this sounds crazy, but it's what happened.
It's true. That was a PA. It was a medicine man, like a witch doctor is what, you know, I grew up thinking that's what they were called.
Yeah. And well, even peyote, there's like a whole belief system. I had a lot of friends on the reservation that did use peyote, and peyote for them was just a way for them to get involved and get closer in enlightenment and all of it. And it's legal for people who use it properly. So I have no judgment of that, but there are people who use things evilly, and for evil intent, and like anything. Yeah. And so this person did this to Dad and was trying to kill him. And he put a triangular curse on their land, so that if you went into this triangular area, you would die. I can hear Mom back. I don't know what she's saying, but I can hear her in the background.
Well, she just came up and she has her iPad on, and that was me talking about the gash in Dad's face.
Oh, okay. And so before they got into the circle, into that triangle where there was this death curse, the brakes seized up on his 4-wheel drive or whatever, his 4-wheeler, and it flew him off. He landed in the fence line, right at the edge of the death curse area, and he didn't fall into the death curse area. When that happens, apparently that kind of spell is reversed, and the medicine man, well, I hate to call him medicine man because there are a lot of good people out there that are medicine men and medicine people, but this bad person who was trying to kill Dad, the spell reversed, and his son that day, if Mom can verify this, I think, was killed in an accident on the interstate. It just totally went haywire. It's the most bizarre, crazy story ever.
I'm going to take my earbuds out so Mom can hear what you're saying now, but I'll start echoing a little bit.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see how this goes. We have a new drinking game. All right. See if I can hear you. I love Dad's stories. He had the most amazing stories. He was quite a storyteller. That might be why we're doing shows like this. I can't hear you. We could have all said, yes, we hear you. And then we didn't. So let's see. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I hear you now.
I just lost us. There we go.
I heard yes. Okay.
So Troy was saying
you're right, John. New drinking game. I just said new drinking game, and John's saying the same thing too. When we can't hear you.
Oh, he said that was it the same day that Dad had that accident and the curse reversed, that the man's son died on the interstate?
It wasn't the same day.
Was not the same.
Oh, okay. Ended up dying, and then the man ended up giving up what he was doing and came to the light side because he was so blown away at what had happened and how that didn't work. That was like an amazing experience. And there are a lot of things out there, and I'm really careful with what I say because I have a lot of wonderful Navajo elder friends that I have a lot of respect for, and I've been friends with them forever and will always, who've taught me some amazing things that about life and nature and the world and the earth and how and the just this energy that is around us at all times that you can tap into. And I just really do appreciate that. But there are some stories out there that are pretty incredible. There are these beings that a lot of people believe in, called skinwalkers. And there's all kinds of stories about who they are and what they do. And I used to talk to different elders and people when I lived on the reservation. They would tell me the stories, and most people that I talked to had seen skinwalkers, and Dad saw one. He was attacked by one at one point. Dad was like, I swear he was Tim Allen. If he could blow it up, it would happen. We always knew it would happen. It didn't even surprise us. That's why we're laughing about it.
Yeah.
But the skinwalkers were pretty intense people.
Mom would call me, wherever it was we lived at the time. She would call and she'd say, well, we had to take your dad to the emergency room. And I'm like, okay, what did he do this time? What did he blow up this time? What did he?
Yeah.
Do
you remember when? How about the plane stories with Dad?
The plane? Oh yeah.
Airplanes.
Yeah, the turbulence and the near crashes and the crash. And
I can think of three right off. So you remember before, was it after 9/11? He was on the plane that crashed. Like he was on the plane. I think it went wherever and he dropped off and went back. When it took off again, it was out of Chicago or somewhere and it crashed. Like it went down. They weren't really, I can't remember why it went down, but that was the plane. And then there was another one that landed and they thought it was going to explode and they crash landed. And everybody jumped out of the plane on slides.
The engine was on fire. He could look out his window and see that the engine was on fire.
Unbelievable. He said he ran, and they finally had to go catch him because he just kept running.
Like Fred Flintstone.
Because he thought it was going to blow up.
I just kept running and running.
That's what he did. He just didn't stop and he was hiding. And he was talking about that. And then there was this preacher that ended up in prison that was a tent crusader. And he was an evangelist that would come into towns with this giant tent and raise money and stuff. And apparently he was laundering money and doing all kinds of terrible things. And so he was writing checks from people's bank accounts for pianos, and I think the airplane he had was paid for by something. Anyway, it was a bunch of convoluted stories. Dad didn't know any of this. So Dad's in the plane with him, and the guy's a pilot, and they're flying. And because the instruments started flickering on and off, and they landed at some airport, and suddenly this minister comes up, we got to go now. Like Dad's like, why not? Like they weren't even fully gassed up. But it was because the authorities realized which plane had landed and they were coming after them. Dad didn't know this, so he gets in the plane with him and they take off with no instruments. They get into the clouds in the mountains and they can't see anything. And Dad was like, and they didn't know how high they were. They didn't know if there was a mountain in front of them. No idea. And Dad said several times he looked at the door and he was thinking, I would rather just open the door and jump out and die that way than to crash into a mountain. Like either way, Dad, you're going to crash. He didn't think that through, but anyway, they finally poked through. They got out of it and they landed. All the instruments had died, and the plane wasn't doing inspections. It was all this terrible stuff. So that nearly killed him. He didn't get in a plane for a long time.
He had to talk with the FBI about that, and that was freaking him out. And Mike just said that. He said, I remember your dad telling me one time a guy walked into the church with a shotgun, pulled the trigger, and the gun didn't go off. And you checked the gun, it was loaded. I remember.
I do know that story
very well.
That was in East Bank.
I know. That was East Bank, West Virginia. Yeah. So there was a woman who came in. She became a Christian. was part of the church, and her husband hated that. He hated the church. He hated Dad. And he was so angry about it that he came and while Dad was up there preaching, he brought a revolver, and through the little tiny hole through the door, he was firing the gun at Dad, a fully loaded gun, and it wasn't firing. It just wasn't firing. And he went outside to the front and he fired it and it went off. Is that right, Mom? Because Mom can hear me.
Not
And then
quite.
the guy, okay, so how's the story go? Hey, Mom, this is Linda Klein.
He went to the man's house to see
okay.
why he didn't try to shoot him when he was there, because Dad didn't hear a gun go off. It never went off in the church. He went to the man's house and he said, well, where's the gun? He says, right there. I haven't bothered it since I got home. So Dad picks up the gun, goes outside, opens it, and it had holes in the firing pins where the firing pin had hit the bullets, and then he didn't go off. Dad shot it in the ground, emptied the gun every time it fired.
Oh, it covers me in chills. It covers me in chills. I mean, Dad had stories like that. He went through some rough, crazy things. I mean, as in his ministry, even as a child. Like, there's a story where Dad was 12 years old, right? And he had like the enlarged heart.
He wasn't 12. I think he was like 7.
Yeah. Oh, is that right? He was really young. I love that story.
Yeah,
me too. The doctor didn't think he would live because his heart was so bad. And
so he couldn't go out and play.
No, he wasn't able to run or anything. And Dad heard this minister on the radio, because TVs weren't out back then.
Yeah.
Heard the minister on the radio, and he said, there is a young man listening to me right now with heart trouble. If he comes to the church and lets me pray for him, God will heal him right now. Dad talked his mom into taking him over there, and God healed his heart.
Well, he told his mom, our grandmother, he's like, he got all excited, and he was just all excited. And if he got too excited, the doctor said it could kill him because of his heart. And he said, I will calm down, but I will calm down until you take me to that church. He forced her to calm him down. And so he went up there, and the minister knew who he was right away when he walked into church.
He did.
That's the young man. And then came up and prayed for him, and Dad's heart was completely healed. And when they went to the doctor, I'm so glad you're here correcting me on this, but this is all the stories I remember from Dad. When he went to the doctor got mad because they thought they were trying to play a trick on him and had brought in James, his brother, and who had a fine heart. And he's like, they're like, no. And the doctor, I don't think actually, it's hard for me to believe he didn't know it was Dad, but I don't know what kind of doctor that was, but he didn't, and got angry about that.
James have always looked a lot alike. They passed for twins.
James and Dad sound alike. They do. We were talking about that last week with Anita. When I heard James laughing, it was chilling. It was exactly Dad's voice, and that's so cool. And I need to hang out more with James because I really do love hearing that. I love hearing Dad's laugh, through him. Yeah, it's all cool. It's really cool. So Dad had stories like that, and there were a bunch of others like that where he nearly got killed, or someone nearly killed him, and then he ended up surviving it all the way through. He got bitten by a yellow timber rattler snake when he was a kid. He was walking through the woods.
He got bit 3 times on his knee by a sidewinder.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
And he came in and said he wasn't feeling good. He must be getting the flu. And so I was treating him for the flu, and that was like on Saturday or Monday.
Wow.
Saturday. And then the following Friday, he raises up his pant leg and says, Linda, this is what you've been treating me for. And it was a place where 3 bites had been on his knee.
Oh my gosh.
I called Gina, and she told him off.
Yeah, I did. I think he lost.
Well, yeah.
I think he lost his sight and his ability to coherence. And
that's not funny, but that's Dad, for heaven's sake.
Dad.
I can't see, but it's all right. I'm gonna be okay. I'm like,
it'll be all right. Just give me a minute.
ever. And then remember when he was bitten by a black widow
Yes.
spider at grandma's house? And he nearly died from the penicillin. That's when they found out he was allergic to penicillin. And that nearly killed him. Dad has been to the gates of heaven so many times.
They finally let him.
Finally, finally they came and got him when he didn't do anything wrong. Like, it's like it's your time to go. And it truly is. I can just hear Dad and my spirit laughing even now while we're talking about this. We are very much like our dad in lots of ways, although, yeah. I think he's probably not hunting anymore. I think he's probably, my sense of Dad, like on the other side, is he's in the woods. It's like I described to Regina, I got like this strong visual of Dad not long afterwards and what he was doing. I'm like, where are you? What's going on? And it was just like a movie that played, and it was the most amazing, gigantic forest I've ever seen in my life. And it had a shimmer to it. I mean, it was just breathtakingly beautiful. And I remember feeling and sensing Dad. Like, I remember gliding over the forest of it and seeing it. And then when I saw what Dad saw, there were animals and beautiful things going on. But of course, they weren't up there like shooting them and eating them at that point. He was just enjoying everything. So finally, he gets my lesson. Although hunting, that's been something that kept people alive for a long, long time. So I have respect for that. But what he's doing now is even more fun. And then I read stories. I started reading stories after this about when Dad passed, about people who had passed and came back, or there were stories of the afterlife and all that, and thousands of stories like that. And in one of them, they went through a vivid explanation of a giant, amazing forest, exactly like the one that I saw. And it's just floored me. I couldn't believe that somebody else described right down to the size of the trees and everything. I was just like, wow, that's so freaking cool. Yeah. So,
right after Dad passed away, I was, I was sitting in my living room, and, it was kind of dark, and I was just sitting there by myself in the quiet. And I felt like this breeze go by me, and that it was like a breeze, and it smelled like outside and musk, aftershave cologne.
Yep.
And I set up.
That
and
would be him.
Yeah, I set up and said, Dad, and I know people are going to think I'm crazy at this point, but he kind of
care anymore
a little bit, because I was just so overwhelmed with grief and sadness, and I was just polarized by that. And I said, why did you do this? I wasn't ready. Why did you do this? And he goes, oh, come on. He goes, it wasn't that I did anything. It was my turn. And I took my turn. And that floored me, because it sounded just like Dad would say that, right? Everybody says, it must have been his time. It must have been their time. But he didn't say that.
That's cool.
He didn't say it was my time. He said it was my turn.
My turn.
Yeah. And I knew that was Dad, because nobody else on the planet would have said that. And
no,
it still took me, a good long time to be okay and be functional and all of that.
It's taken us
really, really close.
A matter of years. It's taken some years to get to where we are. And I mean, for those of you who've lost people you love out there that are just a core part of your life, what we're talking about. And it brings you to your the base of who you are. So much so, boy, I got really white there again. Did you see that?
Well, I've never lost anybody close to me. Not close to me. The closest thing I'd ever lost up until that point was my little dog. I had a little dog.
Yeah, Kenzie. Yeah.
Yeah. I had Mackenzie for like 13, 14 years. And when I lost him, I was just devastated. And that was the closest loss to me. Now, our grandma passed away, and that was really, really hard on Mom, but I wasn't as close to her, and it's sad that my grandma died, but it wasn't like it was for Mom.
It didn't rip you apart, right? at like that. I mean, it's still, that was hard because grandma was, good grief, was
Thank
something
you for
else.
that.
Grandma Goodwill. Yeah, I can't believe we have a grandma and her last name is Grandma Goodwill. Who has a Grandma Goodwill?
It was Mama Goodwill.
Goodwill, Mama Goodwill. It's like you make that up, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. And the other one was Mama Baker. So we had a baker and a Goodwill. We lived a storybook. I mean, I don't think we're real.
Preacher dad, teacher mom, Grandma Goodwill, Grandma Baker.
Well, it is 6:35, and
unbelievable.
So
we haven't
I
even
want to make sure we talked about. Yet. No, we haven't even started. We ain't got to the list. I've got the list right here. But we did talk about the Facebook group. And the one thing we didn't do, and we'll talk about it next time, is I posted this crazy question. I'm like, what is a food that you like to eat that everyone else hates?
I love that question.
Holy smokes. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about that because I actually want to try some of those concoctions that people came up with. I want to see if I can handle it because some of them are the things, mom made us eat, but whatever. And then, so Facebook group, join the Facebook group because that's where we post these goofy things. And if you don't know where it is, just contact us. We'll invite you into it, or you can just find it. The YouTube channel, if it's easier for you to watch goofy shows like this and talks like this on YouTube instead of Facebook because it's hard to find it on Facebook, then we're going to start posting this stuff to YouTube, and you can go there too. And then we'll post the links to the YouTube channel as well. And then we'll keep doing that until people quit watching it.
I love that we have. That means
I don't have anything left. It's hard to follow.
Oh.
All right. I love it. Everybody's like, drink, like on the Facebook page.
Oh, that's a bad freeze too. That's a gerbil freeze.
It was. That's a gerbil freeze. Sterling's on.
Really?
Got some stories there. And Debbie Moore, Grant. Oh, Grant. Grant is the guy that I told you that told us we should open a Facebook group so that we can start posting when these crazy shows are. And he was right. So thank you, Grant. That was really good. Got Debbie Moore. I have enough time to go and hunt down Joe for some of the comments he made this evening. Yeah, and Joanne's Harmon there. She's French teacher. So I still need to learn French. I've learned some of it. What do you say?
One day he can zoom in when we're home and walk the neighborhood. Wouldn't that be great?
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Anybody wants to do some goofies, we'll zoom you in. Trust me, we can spread the embarrassment to more than just our family.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We're really happy to do that anytime.
Mike, when you come to town, I'll go to the Church of God and I'll call you or knock on your door. I don't know your number, but I know where you live, and have you come with.
That's right. And before we go, if you didn't see last week's show with Anita, please go. And especially if you know anybody that's gone through any type of sexual abuse or trauma and addiction. Wow, she was so freaking raw and personal and honest about it that Regina and I, before we started tonight, we're like, we still haven't processed everything that she said and the effects it had on our entire family. So we have lots of questions. We have to have Anita back on, not only to talk about that, but she's also talked a little bit about PTSD. And of course, Dad had that too because of other accidents and things that happened in his life. So we learned a little bit about PTSD through him. I tell you, he was full of drama. We love that man.
He was. So also one thing that I think, that I want to put out there is all of the movement towards Save Our Children, Save the Children movement. I love it so much. I don't know.
What is that?
Well, it's about stopping human trafficking. And probably 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago, I went to a nursing leadership conference in, I don't remember where it was. Vegas, maybe? Was it Vegas? Anyway, I went to a conference And one of the breakout sessions in the evening, it was like an evening session, was they showed a movie about these nurses that had gone into the inner city, and I don't remember the city, honestly, but they had a van, and it was just this unmarked van, and the whole back of it was full of medical supplies, you know, from IV solution to, you know, aid supplies, you know, bandages, wraps, you know, things that people needed that lived on the streets. And they were able to gain the trust of the people that were on the streets. And then people who had been trafficked came to them for their help. And that was the first time I had ever heard the term human trafficking. And I sat there in this auditorium and I cried and I cried and I cried because it was just horrific. I mean, it got me to my core, you know, and I knew that I was born, I was developed and designed, that's the word, designed, to do something to stop human trafficking. And since then, I've gotten training in some counseling. I've gotten training in women's abuse, and I volunteer in a women's shelter that's a hideaway women's shelter. You know, I've done as much as I can do, short of, you know, trying to find an organization to join that I can actually, you know, tangibly do something to help people that are being rescued from human trafficking. I just think, you know, what Jeffrey
have to do that.
What Jeffrey Epstein, I think it's how you say his name, did was horrific. But it's him scary. Going to prison, and then this woman that accompanied him going at least being picked up by the FBI, has done so much to say, hey, human trafficking is a problem. And
it's a huge problem. The statistics are unbelievable about how many people are trafficked in this world, like how many people are in slavery right now.
Horrible.
It's like hundreds of thousands of people. It's like crazy amounts of people.
And the big events like the Super Bowl and the World Series and, you know, the Olympics, those are places that these people take the people that they've stolen or they're trafficking, they take them, and those are big deal events for them. And it just makes me sick.
We need to talk about, we should look, I mean, we're looking around for ways that we can help, like what we can do to be part of the solution to that issue. And we should talk about that next time. Let's look up some stats. Maybe if we find somebody, how about if we find somebody who's involved in all of this, like in the help and the outreach, and invite them to one of these shows and have you just talk with them, and we'll get some facts from them and try to bring some awareness to that. That would be amazing to talk about. I'd love to do that. And some of the stories, I've watched some of the stories. There was a big thing going on. I have a giant park across the street from my house in DC, and it's called Meridian Hill Park, and there are lots of things, protests, and you name it, they go on over in that park. And one day there was like this whole bunch of stuff going on, a bunch of music and people speaking, and someone over, and it was this entire thing about sex trafficking and human trafficking, and it was bringing awareness to the city and all of it. I just couldn't even believe what was going on. And there, for the grace of God, like there are a lot of kids who ran away from home, and boys and girls, and they, within just 2 or 3 days of running away, and they're usually targeted and picked up and taken right into sex trafficking, especially gay kids, because they're just thrown away. Often their families kick them out, they don't know where to go, and then they get picked up and destroyed. It's just unconscionable, you know, what we do. Word. It really is. So let's talk about that. No, seriously, I'd like to.
Picture of Dad this week of him kneeling down at the altar praying, you know, all I could think about was, you know, he taught us through that lifestyle of prayer. He taught us to love people where they are. You know, if they are on the streets, love them. If they are in a mansion, love them. If they have a job, love them. If they don't, love them. If they have clothes, love them. If they're in rags, love them. If they have food, love them. If they don't, give them food, give them clothes, give them water. and
love them then. Yeah.
And love them.
Yeah.
And all we need to do is introduce them to Jesus and let him do the rest. We don't need to tell them how to walk, how to eat, how to talk, all that stuff.
Well, that's the thing. It's like all you have to do is just be the light. People talk about just be the light. Period. And then it becomes it just through your words and your countenance and your smile and just the way you interface with life says enough. It says more than you could through words often. And I meet people like that all the time, and it just floors me when I meet those people because they walk all over this planet. And I think that's an amazing thing to do. I'd love to do that. Well, it is an hour and 15 minutes, so we should probably hang this up. And we have a lot more to talk about next week. And next week, we'll definitely talk about, hopefully, about some of the issues Regina just brought up. I see Donna. Where's Donna? Gosh, people keep saying stuff and we keep talking. So, all right. Well, we love all of you. What?
She's my sister-in-law. I was responding, Mike. Donna's my sister-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I have a question to follow up your what's one gross thing that you eat, and then I'll stop talking. So you ready for my follow-up?
I'm getting ready to order food, speaking of gross. Anyway.
If you were a donut,
uh-oh,
what kind of donut would you be and why?
Oh. Shut up, John, Joe. Can't say anything. I know where you live. I'll think about that.
I
know exactly what they're thinking.
Yeah.
What would you be?
I would be maple covered donut, Long John maple covered donut.
I am so out. I cannot play this drinking
because
game.
everybody.
Oh, that's good. Wow. Oh, she really froze on that one. I'm gonna have to go get a refill. So you would be a maple alligator tabletop. A what?
Maple covered, one of those Long Johns.
Yeah.
Those long
ones.
Okay. Maple covered, cream filled with bacon on top.
Okay, I like all that. I was gonna say maple donut. That's one of my favorites. But I haven't had it with bacon on it yet.
Oh,
bacon!
Bacon! So good.
All right. We love you too, Joe. Thanks, Joe. And then John said drink. And he said I was a jelly donut, or he's a jelly.
Joe loves me more.
I'm not sure. See how it is? That's not right.
Joe's my favorite.
After all I've pretended to do for you.
So okay, I will
stop.
All
right. I'm going to stop too. We love all of you. And like always, please, please, please stay safe and take your masks seriously. I just found out that the ones that you pull up around your neck, they're ones that can work, but they're ones that are super thin. And they just did a research project, found out that there's certain material, it's nylon or whatever, it's real thin, and you put it over. It actually, when you breathe out, it breaks the big droplets into little droplets and it aerosols it. It makes it even worse. So they said, tight knit cloth, something that will stop droplets from flowing is what you have to always think of when you're wearing these masks. And so my dog mask, I think it's like that. My cat mask, where I'm afraid it might be one of the bad ones. I think, pretty sure it is.
I saw a lady yesterday.
So I need to get new masks.
Shield. It was awesome. She didn't have any trouble breathing. A clear shield. It was. I
have those.
Her glasses, and it came up. And it came down. It didn't steam up, but it's
right out. You can put it on your hat too, like they have them where they go on the rim of your hat. And those are good, right? So those are pretty good. I would do that. We got to keep doing this. We got to keep masking up because the numbers of people getting sick and dying are higher and higher and higher every day, even though there's like a little bit of a plateau happening, but the deaths are still bad, really bad. They think if we don't get this under control by December, we'll have another 100,000 or more people dead. So that's 100,000 people that shouldn't be dead. So anyhow, let's take it seriously. Stay safe. Keep your family safe. Keep your dog safe. Your cat safe. Play good drinking games. Eat good maple donuts with bacon on them.
Like Bob Barker, have your pet spayed or neutered.
We need to come up with something like that. You know, Carol Burnett did this. We're going to come up with something. We'll come up with something really good. Have your donuts frozen, whatever, something good. I'm not sure.
Eggs.
All right. Well, I love you all, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.
And I'll try to remember to post this tonight. All right.
Oh, good plan.
All right.
Okay,
all right.